Hi, I am Jeremy
Alright, I'm
Howard
just going
from
to let this run
Fast.ai,
out while he's
and
doing his
this is
thing,
a hacker's guide to language models.
and that's good.
When I say a hacker's guide, what we're going to be looking at is a
I do
code-first
love.
approach
Yeah,
to
I do have to pause this. I like what this is, when I'm talking about my Dalport Daily, you don't know, but if you did know, my Dalport Daily does a lot of what this does, but as far as the hacking language that you had to use to make this, so course fast AI, I don't know what that opens or where that goes. Maybe relative. What is a language model? I'm gonna want to build my own little library file for that about like standard model and some code ciphering. Their like infinity series math. I'll want to re-engineer that math so that my code language overall up and right stays with some math problem. And the math problem is always Laplace time and frequency domain, which can only go so many different ways. So I course that. There's the track, the time and frequency of how long it takes somebody to program. This is one. That is 1 unit by the mean average that comes through. The math will get more complicated in Q or superposition off of that to say there was a difference in age. When you get to going through this about like if you had battle tanks. Hold on a second. Go. Sorry about that. I literally just let him out. Alright, but anyways. He'll get into this type of scanning software. If I'm going to play Warhammer on a chest about tanks, pawn pieces, or something else, I would want to refactor what game bit this is. I don't really see the direct connection. I mean, he's doing something different, fair. I want to note that superposition. He's just doing the write out word with the PowerPoint stuff that helps, not necessarily the Excel stuff that you want to make Excel. You want to make Word, but have it formatted in such a way that this becomes easy as an app, so it hacks that system and gets it in there with that very clean measure theory of operations. Once that key's done, then you can talk about the M2 model or that folder, how that operates, because mathematically it operates like one of those equations, fx, and breaking it down. Good way to kind of recognize, the physical catalysts that you need for those math problems. Otherwise, they're just dealing with Laplacian and they have no time frequency. They have no inverted three-phase to triangle that off of, because there's no students to graph this section on, or just this section, or the entirety of that variable and any fractal back to that, because technically you're adding quantum mechanically. You're not really adding this to add this, and because you forgot this position there, you knew you forgot it because it's a step that has to play through here. So start again on that hack guide. Deal with your NP field theory organization and start laying out that ball more frequently. A lot, again, that pattern, that 1-1 stuff, 1-1 stuff, and 1-0 stuff, 0-0, is what that looks like right here to make that wild jump. Technically, when it got to 1-1 linearly, we still can't really say that's what is it? Well, basic models could have been before that, because technically at this point in time they're still the same thing, short of this referencing that mechanics. Very different codes though, right? I mean, this will be the same. This is already different, but that's all the same. The two types of differential wording and adding one of those, this is already pretty complicated to where you would logically start to put in that drop down. they come in pretty frequently. But I wanted to note that here, especially in something like this, where because the way, I don't know whether it gathered it from the internet or somebody had to type in many different, just very well written, write a book, talk about, just any kind of writing that you can throw at it to build some basic scorecard off of, something for me to emulate Hemingway or Plato or Socrates or whatever. Socrates wasn't really the writer, but there's a probability. What word is he on? Ben Fallen? Where's Fallen at? Which one? I'm not exactly sure where it is in the letters, but that tells me a probability. Once I have this, see, it's important not for language, but take out language and program something different into the way that operates and have it run on a scorecard. That is super critical, but I don't know how to make it. If I don't want to make it with the Hacker's Guide, well then how am I supposed to then reapply it to the next thing in the cabinet or here, compare it to how HTL models or something? I don't exactly know if that's a smooth transition either. Super practical. I really like that. Immediately, this pretty heavy duty stuff, unless you're technically talking about something, town meetings, the way this piece of machinery that works for the Director of Information Technology, we have an IBM cloud facility that does our data processing. It routes a lot of the stuff for Google, Facebook. I'm not exactly sure on the ins and outs, and it would certainly be a technical design away from this 0 or 1 form, which it seems like he's staying in the form of. But yeah, immediately crazy for how long. He is stopping, and it's a lot of hack off in there, but what happens is, I don't know, maybe he does have other videos independently that do add up to this. If he does, then I would say yeah, that's right, because then they play linearly through a mechanics, unless you need to start somewheres and just run it linearly through that section. Yeah, it's a big quantum mechanics issue. Crisis in cosmology. Because again, NP isn't just metals, doping, or chips, or nodes, but ones and zeros that are complete. The whole toolkit of chips is there. If I have this one, I have its counterpart. If I know the arc sign, the minor arc sign, then I know the major arc sign by only changing 2 pieces of that math equation in trig. All this stuff would work like that, and if it didn't do that one, then there's a triple body to the arc signs, but then you would say it's known. If it wasn't known, you'd look at the graph overall, the pie chart, and say, well, through that arc sign there's a probability, and through this one there's a probability. You can't really unscrew that monkey once you done did that. Excuse me. I don't know, I'm prattling on here, I'm sure. I really have a hard time plowing through this without a catalyst, without something in hand, a Rubik's Cube, because I would need to just, give this guy a view for an hour and a half with an ASRM video at night, because I like the sound of the keys tapping. It's a heartbreaker.